Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining Creativebug Facebook Live. I am Twinkie Chan. So we're going to get into the holiday spirit today. I'm going to teach you how to make 3 different kinds of holiday garlands. What I love about garlands, well, I love a couple things about garlands. First of all, once you get the basic skill down, you can kind of continue your garland making somewhat mindlessly. You can watch a favorite holiday movie. You can do this like in a craft party and talk to your friends. So it's really easy to get that initial skill building, and then you can just take off on your crafting and do other things at the same time. Garlands are also super versatile. You can hang them in a doorway. I actually have one of these hanging in my craft room doorway all year round. It's just happy making. You can throw them across your mantle. You can use them as part of your table decor as like a centerpiece. You can truncate them, like shorten them, and use them as gift toppers. Okay, I have a lot to show you, so I want to get started. Just to give you a lay of the land of what you're going to see in the next half hour or so, we're going to start with a fun candy-inspired Pom Pom Garland, and then do a more botanical-inspired crepe paper leaf garland, and then last but not least, my personal favorite, a vintage-inspired Crochet Popcorn Garland. So let's dive right in. Come around. Okay, for the Pom Pom Garland, you'll of course need a bunch of pom-poms. I'm sticking to sort of a peppermint candy theme. I have pinks and reds and whites, but you can do whatever colors you want. I would not go too small on your pom-poms. These are probably about 3/4 of an inch to up to, what is this? This looks like maybe 2 inches. So try to stick with larger pom-poms if possible. You'll need some paper straws. I like using, oh look, there's an eyeball sticker. I like using bakery twine to thread everything together, and you want a needle that's sharp enough to pierce through the center of a pom-pom, but has a head that's large enough to fit the string that you're using. So what I do is, let me move some stuff around here, pre-measure how long you want your garland to be, and of course this can be up to you. I wouldn't go too long because then it starts getting really unwieldy. I like to start with maybe like a 6-foot piece of string to start with. Just trim that off, and then you can thread one end of the string through your needle, and then find the other end. You can start by making a hanging loop for your garland. And the cool thing about the hanging loop is it also keeps your pom-poms from falling off the garland. So give that maybe 2 or 3 knots. I'll just do 2 for now. Well, it feels a little, if it's moving around, give it 3. I was trying to save time, but I feel better knowing it's 3. And that's how you can hang your garland later. And this one is so easy. If your kids are old enough to handle a needle and thread, they can totally do this with you. So you're just gonna alternate a pom-pom. Oops. Oh. Make sure that can go through the center and bring it all the way down to where your loop is. And then what we're gonna do with the straws is we're gonna trim them. And you can trim these to whatever length you want, and you can also vary the length if you want, but I like the look of making them kind of the same size. So I'm gonna cut this in half, and it's approximate, you can eyeball it. I don't need a ruler or anything. And then I'm gonna cut each of those halves into thirds. They do kind of shoot across all over the place. So you wanna get a good pile of these. I'm only gonna do a couple for now, but you wanna get a nice big bowl of your straw pieces. Kind of corral them back together, and then just string that on. And you can see how easy this is, but it's super cute. And the thing about the straws is that you don't have to use up as many pom-poms to get a good length of garland. So not only are they cute, but you kind of save on your precious pom-pom supply. Oops, caught a little bit of a knot here. I don't know if you want to watch me try to work this knot out, but oh, there we go. Not too hard. But you can see it's just super easy. Just keep alternating pom-poms and straws. The only thing I would say is don't squish them down too tightly because then it won't hang straight. You want to make sure they have enough room, space them out kind of evenly. And when you get to the end of your garland, you have this amazingness, which is super cute. And before you finish, you want to leave enough string to tie another hanging loop. And that's it. Your garland is done. You can see the tree behind me has about 3 or 4 of these garlands hanging on it. And it like almost doesn't even need ornaments. It's so cute. This one down. So cute, right? All right, let's dive into the second one. This one I think is more appropriate for tablescapes and mantelpieces or mantles. I probably wouldn't string this on a tree, but obviously you have the freedom to do whatever you'd like. I'm gonna use crepe paper. It can be hard to find in stores. I had to buy this online. So if you don't like shopping online, you can also use cardstock, but I really like the crinkly texture of crepe paper. We're gonna need some floral wire. I recommend you have it on the spool and not the ones that are pre-cut lengths. And then some floral tape. So what we'll do is cut some leaves, and I like to cut like 4 layers at a time. Any more than that, and it gets kind of slippery and the layers shift. And you wanna fold it about 1.5 to 2 inches, or however wide you want your leaves. I'm gonna fold this a couple times. And crepe paper doesn't keep a fold very well. I kind of try to encourage it to fold to keep my place, but don't worry if it's a little wild. It's okay. And then I'm just gonna trim this off here. And I usually freehand cutting the leaves, but in case you want to see sort of the shape that I'm gonna cut, the important part of this is the bottom needs a little stem. So you need to make sure you cut a little stem, and then you can do just a really basic leaf shape. And how long or big this is totally up to you. So we'll just hold all these layers together and give them a trim. You can use a cutting machine if you want, but I feel like if these aren't exactly the same shape and size, it's totally not a big deal, and it's just easier for me to cut these by hand. So I'll probably make sure the pen side of that is facing down, and then I think it's easier if you keep chopping off the ends as you go. And here I'm just gonna freehand at the stem, and then the leaf shape. Really simple. The stem is important because that's how we're going to attach everything together. So you would keep chopping up these leaves. It takes a lot of leaves, I'm not gonna lie, so you probably wanna prep a really big bunch of these so you don't interrupt your garland making later. And just keep cutting up the line. I'm gonna stop here, but save all these bits. You can probably use them later for like making confetti or other projects later. Okay, let's grab our floral wire. You don't have to pre-cut this. You can just keep it on the spool. It's really up to you. I usually just leave it on the spool just to see how long I can go. This one's kind of a test of your endurance. Like, it's really fun, but I think of all 3 garlands, this one is the most time consuming for me, but it's also just, it makes a really beautiful effect. So what we're gonna do is, whenever I'm dealing with wire, I like to fold down the edge of it just so there isn't like a super pointy part to like catch my fingers later. So we'll just fold that back and start using the floral tape. I think with floral tape, it is easier if you cut off a little bit so you don't have that spool to deal with. And then we're just gonna cover the bottom of this. And if you haven't used floral tape before, it's a little waxy. It like sticks to itself, and you can activate that sticky by giving it a slight tug. And we'll kind of have that travel up the wire a little bit. You're gonna squish it and pull it and stretch it. If it breaks, it's totally okay. You can just kind of squish another piece right back on. And to start attaching these leaves, I think it's easier when the leaf is facing downward and the stem is at the top. You just lay that right in here. You're gonna sandwich it between your floral tape and your floral wire and just give it a wrap. I'm kind of pulling and stretching a little bit as I go. And then you do the same thing with another leaf. You can change the angle a little bit. Keep wrapping. And that's really super it. It's so easy, right? And it is beautiful. You can do whatever colors you want. You can even use metallics, which are really beautiful, and I'll show you a sample of that in a second. If you're using cardstock and you want to emulate the stripes on the crepe paper, you can use a marker and make any patterns you want on your paper leaves. I think that you can kind of get an idea of what this process is like. Again, this is great for a party. Just cut a bunch of leaves and put your girlfriends to work, or any of your friends. Don't have to be girls. My girlfriends will craft with me, so for me it would probably be a ladies' night, but it's a fun thing to do with a bunch of people. And let me show you what this looks like when it's all finished. Shh. Look how beautiful this is. You can see it'd be really cute snaking across the center of your table. If you want to add berries, you can use bunches of bells and just hot glue them, or you can use pom-poms or beads or anything you want to have that sort of holiday holly berry look. If you come over here, you can see a really cool metallic version of it that you can use as a cute gift topper. I had no idea there was golden floral tape until I started digging around in the Creativebug craft closet. So the floral tape comes in all colors and can match or coordinate with whatever paper you're using. Blasting through these projects. So the last one is very special to my heart. It's the Crochet Popcorn Garland. So all the crocheters who are watching, thank you for your patience. I've had this pattern for sale on my Etsy for quite some time, but I've never demoed it in a video before, so this is the first time. And also, we'll put the pattern in the description area, so you don't have to memorize it now. I'm gonna go through it fairly quickly, just so you can get an idea of how it's put together, but you don't have to memorize the pattern. So we're gonna start again with a hanging loop. You can actually do this later, you don't have to start with the hanging loop, but you wanna make sure you're leaving enough tail to create a hanging loop. And we'll start with a chain 2. And if you need to brush up on your crochet basics, I have a course on Creativebug. It's called the Crochet Sampler Daily Practice, and we can cover all the abbreviations and crochet stitches there. So we're gonna chain 2, 1, 2, and the first round is 6 single crochets into the second chain from your hook. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And round 2 is simply 2 single crochets in each of those stitches for a total of 12. That's 1, 2 in the same stitch, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And for round 3, we're just gonna decrease again to get back to 6 stitches, or a 6 stitch count. So I'm gonna use the invisible decrease in the back loop only. Again, if that sounds like confusing or you don't know what I'm talking about, it's good to brush up on some of your basic stitches in my crochet sampler class. So this is 4, 5, and 6. And for this project, the wrong side of your work will face the outside of the popcorn. It's just easier. You don't have to manipulate the project as much. So it kind of looks like a little nub right now, which is totally fine. Count your stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then slip stitch in the next stitch to join. And this round is the fun part. We're going to do a reverse popcorn stitch. That's just sort of what I call it. I don't know if it has an official name. And we're going to use half double crochets. So you're going to work 4 half double crochets into the next stitch. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove your hook. Insert your hook into the first half double crochet from back to front. Pick up that dropped loop and pull it through. And it creates this little nubby on the back of your work. We're gonna make 3 of those. So slip stitch to the next stitch to join, and then work 4 half double crochets again into the next stitch. It's 2, 3, 4. Remove your hook, insert into the first half double crochet from back to front, pick up the loop again, pull through, slip stitch to the next stitch. I'm gonna make 1 more reverse popcorn, 2, 3, 3, 4, back to front, pull through, slip stitch to join. And one very cute and happy little popcorn here. You want to chain maybe 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get some distance until you start your next popcorn. And you just repeat all those same steps. Skip the first chain, 6 single crochets into the first, or 6 single crochets into that chain. 3, 4, 5, 6. And at this point to keep going, you're going to need to drop this first popcorn and let it fall behind your work so you can continue. That's the only difference between working the first popcorn and the rest of your popcorns. And we'd really just continue on until you have as many popcorns as you want.
Phil is wondering what's new at Creativebug.
Hi, Phil. Well, if you've been following from the beginning of our live, we've moved, which is huge news. And maybe one day we'll be able to do like a tour. Oh, are you getting a mini tour right now?
Just a little brief tour.
I know they don't like to show all the secret sauce and the mechanics of how we make all of our tutorial magic, but we have so much more room, there's so much more light, and I think we're all getting a little acclimated to the new space, but I think that's what's been super exciting. Good question, Phil. I hope you're doing well. I hope all your news is good. I don't know if we need to keep blasting through the popcorns.
Do you have a full version?
What was that?
Do you have a full version?
I do have a full version. So again, I'll post that pattern in the description after we're live, and you can see, oops, let me trim this. When you're done at the end, you can just break that off and tie another hanging loop. And trim. These are great for new parents because, oops, this one doesn't have a hanging loop. I know that they like to have really squishy ornaments on their trees if they're like babies or young kids playing around the tree. So this is a really great option. It's reusable. It won't attract pests the way actual real food popcorn garlands might. So these are super cute. My family steals all of them from me. I couldn't find any in my own house. If you're gifting them as presents, you can also play with packaging, which is always my favorite. So you can get a little treat bag, print out a cute little topper. You can also print out a message. I used to use these for like craft shows, so there's like copy about. You don't need to do that part, but you can get really creative with gifting and packaging, or you can use this to tie around your gifts. But yeah, if you end up posting your garlands on social, please, please, please tag Creativebug and myself, Twinkie Chan. I would love to see them and share them. If you're feeling stressed about any of your holiday DIYs, I believe in you. There's still time. There's lots of time for having a wonderful handmade holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.